All right, so we have Arenado here. The top one's a home run he hit the other day with the Cardinals, and this is the bottom one's him with Colorado in the past. And we're just going to kind of go over kind of like an A swing, B swing, C swing kind of idea. But I want you to see a couple things that he does that are kind of the absolutes in hitting if you want to be a good hitter. So, he gets into his launch position, but he's in a 2-2 count. So he's got to be thinking shorten everything up, right? So he's probably thinking outside to in. He doesn't know what's coming. I don't know the sequences of how he got to 2-2, but he's kind of in a protection mode, because if you look at, a good launch for him, his hands, he's stretched. So if we want to think about the system, he's not really stretched out right here. His hands aren't even past his knee, really. So he's really not getting a good stretch reflex. He's not really into his legs as good, but he is using them properly. He has not wavered. It's still his batter's box. So he's cutting everything down. But here's the difference. Good hitters have a sense of where their barrel is, right? They understand the distance between their hands and their barrel. So their barrel becomes their hands. And when you become efficient with understanding where your barrel is, you can do just about anything. I try to use it in this, try to explain it this way. Guys that bunt don't swing hard, right? It's a bunt, right? So there's no bat speed there, but they can still get the barrel to the ball. It's the same thing. You have to just learn to shorten yourself up. So obviously you don't have to have your A swing, but you just got to know where your barrel is, right? So as long as you know where your barrel is, you can cover all quadrants of the strike zone. And if you find the barrel, it doesn't matter how hard you swing, you're going to hit it hard. If somebody throws a ball in the upper 80s, low 90s, and you square it up and you take a nice short swing, you're going to hit it hard. Okay, these guys are men. So that's kind of what you're going for. You're not trying to overshoot. And in today's game, everybody's trying to get to that, 2-strike approach where you're still getting your A swing in, and you're getting a huge stretch reflex, and you're really trying to swing hard, and there's really no adjustability sometimes. Sometimes it's just hit or miss, right? So I'm going to kind of explain it to you in this area. So in gears, right? So you got your lower gear, your lower half, right? And then you have your core gear. Okay, so you have your core, which gives you the stretch reflex. So lower half's leverage, right? Getting into the ground, creating torque with the core, so you can get ground force. And then here's the third gear. The third gear is an important gear. It's the shoulders and the arms. The shoulders and the arms have to slingshot past second gear. Okay, so let's look at the top one. And you see him cut off his landing. He's actually moving forward. So he pulls his hands inside. At this point, he sees that it's a slider that's moving in on him, and he's predicting where it's going, but he understands where his barrel is. So we'll look at this from the front view, and you'll see how amazing it is that he even got to this ball. But he's pulling his hands inside. Legs are still working properly. But here's the amazing thing, right? He cuts everything off to get his barrel to it because he knows where it is. But the only way that works is if you don't get too big with your swing. So right now, he's really focused on third gear, his hands. How are they going to work, right? So in the bottom one, he's get this huge stretch, this huge pull with the front side. But you know what? He may be ahead in the count. He gets to take the big swing. You swing and miss, you're still hitting, right? 2 strikes, you're a hitter. You're trying to put it in play and find your barrel. So let's look at the front view. Okay, let's look how far this ball is in. So we watch this pitch come in, and then he lets it go right here, and it's a slider. And, at this point right here, he thinks it's kind of over the inner edge of the plate, so he kind of commits to it. And then all of a sudden, the predictability is telling him it's cutting in on him, right? He sees spin. But notice one thing, right? Right when he lands, it's his plate. Okay, so I don't know how the sequence went. It's a 2-2 count. Who knows what he was thinking? But I'll tell you what he wasn't going to do. He wasn't going to give up on the outer half of the plate, right? So the plate is his, because watch his head. He doesn't try to create space and get away from this ball. He's going to let his hands do all the work. So watch his head. Watch his posture. No creating space. His head stays on the line. He's going to create an ability to get his hands to pull him inside and he just does a good job of finding his barrel. That's the use of your hands. That has nothing to do with his body or anything. He's just not going to, lose his body. He doesn't want to lose his posture because then you can't use it. So this is just a great job of keeping his body in control and then putting his hands in a position that he can get to the barrel. Most guys are going to waver. They're going to move off that line. They don't trust their hands, and they're just going to simply get out of the way because they don't feel like they can get to that pitch. But this is what it takes. This takes hours of practice of plate coverage and understanding how to get to these balls, because you don't practice this, right? You practice an inside tee, but you don't practice the predictability of this ball. But when you practice an inside tee, you try to stay inside that ball. You try to hit it hard over the shortstop head, and you're not thinking pull. So this is a cutoff swing. He stays inside. I don't know how many guys are going to get to this ball, but that's definitely not his A swing, but he got his barrel to it just enough, and home run. Still got it out. So I'm going to tell you right now, most guys are going to take a huge hack at this, swing over the top of it, and go back to the dugout. You know what Arenado's going to do? He's going to shorten himself up and do what it takes to get his barrel to the ball, because even if you find the barrel with your C swing, you're still going to hit it hard somewhere. The name of the game is find your barrel. If you can find it, you'll hit balls hard.